And good evening.
Good
We're
evening.
reconvening for the callback. We have the Treasurer's Office. And I think we have a few questions by Councilman Dom, so we can jump right into it. Unless you may have an opening statement.
No, we're good.
Thank you. Councilman Dom.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming. For the Treasurer, I just wanted to, did your position start in January of 16?
Yes, it did.
And were you briefed upon entering that position that this was an issue?
At the time of my start, no, I was not.
So you didn't know about it at that point?
No, I did not.
And at what point did you find out about it?
Actually, around this time when in 2016, when we were preparing for the exit interview with the controller.
Okay, so like May of 2016?
April, May, around that time, yeah.
And then how did you find out about it?
We were preparing for the exit conference, with the controller, and that's how I found out.
So who the controller informed you of it?
Well, what happens is we get a draft of report where we have to prepare responses and reading through it and the findings that from what would have been the FY16 audit, yes.
But when you came in as treasurer, knowing that the treasurer's responsibilities are reconciling the accounts on a monthly basis at least, or even daily, were you doing that when you came in as treasurer?
Yep, and I mean, we sat down at the time. There was, from the transition, there was a deputy that crossed both administrations, and you sat down with him and did a debrief and talked about one of the things, which was reconciliation and where we were with reconciliations at that time, but it wasn't at a full-scale disclosure of what was actually happening.
But my understanding, what I understand, is that the job of the treasurer is to make sure all of our accounts are reconciled. And if you started in January, within the first 30 days, wouldn't you be looking at reconciling the accounts? And if you had done that, you would have realized that accounts hadn't been reconciled since 2010.
Well, are you specifically speaking of Concash? Concash is 2014.
Payroll account.
Payroll is 2010, that's correct. And like I said, in wholesale, talking about reconciliation, what the staff was doing, it was learning all that, and it was not disclosed fully at that time to me, but that the staff was working and just going, getting in and finding out day to day, and with that, that's how I found out.
But if you were hired as a treasurer for any other company other than the city of Philadelphia, within 30 days of the close of the month, the responsibilities are to make sure your bank accounts are reconciled. So I don't understand how it took from January till someone telling you in May that you didn't realize they weren't reconciled.
Okay, and I'm telling you that, having conversations, going through wholesale with everyone in the department and all that they are reconciling, where are they with, it was not fully disclosed at that time to me at the severity of it, so I did not find out until that time.
Did you ask in February, for example, has January's records been reconciled?
Did I ask that specific question? No, I did not.
Or in March or in April?
I can't recall that I asked a specific question to that nature.
Okay, I'm only asking this because in any business, you ask 15 days at the close of the month, your accountant or whoever's doing it, it's usually a third party, not the person who's writing the checks. Has everything been reconciled? What's outstanding, et cetera? That's why I'm asking the question.
Okay.
So let me just walk through this. In May of 2016, you found out about the accounts not being reconciled? Mm-hmm. And at that point, what did you do?
At that point, had a conversation with the staff to try to figure out the why that it was not, and what was their plan, or was their plan to, and then started to actually dig in deep with each staff person, the accounts they're responsible for reconciling, and putting a plan together wholesale to see how we could rectify that issue.
That was in May of 2016?
That's correct. That's when it began, yes.
And did you find out at that point how many different accounts weren't reconciled?
I did.
And can you tell me again, there's more than 2 accounts. Can you give me a list of all the accounts that were not reconciled?
Would you like me to provide that for you or send it to you?
Whatever's easiest for you. If you know right now, I'd like to just hear what they are.
So at that time, it was the general disbursement account.
And the general disbursement, the date that last reconciled was at the end of
January 2012.
January 2012.
That's correct. Payroll,
What was the date of that?
June 2010.
Okay.
The pension disbursement,
Pension disbursement?
No.
What was the date of that one?
June 2014.
Okay.
And pension PPDAA account.
PPDA?
That's correct.
What does that stand for?
I can get that back to you exactly what it means, but it's like kind of like the supplemental account for that. And that was December 2015.
And what would you say the amount of money goes through each one of, is this the only 4 accounts that were reconciled, or are there others
No, those are the ones that were behind.
behind? No others?
In
that were-
Concash, excuse me, in Concash.
Concash. And how long was that behind from?
That was June of 2014.
And, do you have any idea of the general disbursement account? How much goes through that account on a monthly basis? How much in dollars? Or on a daily basis or weekly?
I don't have that offhand.
But is that the account where, someone told me that it was back in, Leonard Moak was the finance director. He set up an account where everything flowed into one account called the general disbursement account to avoid having checks bounced, so we had enough float. So is that the account where all our checks are written from?
Oh, yes, all disbursements run through that, except for like payroll, but out of the general
So
disbursement
what are the
account.
monthly disbursements of the city of Philadelphia, roughly?
I don't have that offhand. I can get that to you.
Is it 200 million, 300 million?
I'm not going to guesstimate. I can get you the information, but offhand, I don't have it.
Okay. It's got to be pretty, considering our budget's 4.6 billion, it's got to be a pretty big number going through that account.
Right, and that's why I don't want to misspeak,
Right.
but I will get it to you.
Would you say the range, though, is 200 to 400 million, or would you say it's higher or lower? I'm giving you a wide spread. We don't know that.
I mean, it's hundreds of millions.
Right, it's hundreds of millions.
Hundreds
but-
of millions monthly go through that account. Okay. How about the payroll account? What is the total payroll for the city annually?
I don't have that budget. It's like,
Probably at 1.7 or
I was
something.
going
1.7 billion?
Something like
to
that.
estimate it.
So basically what we're saying on the payroll account since June of 2010, for 7 years, we didn't balance close to $10 billion of payroll. 1.7 a year. It was lower in prior years, but I'm saying it's close to 10 billion. The pension disbursement account, how much money goes through that account per year? Is that all the pension checks written out to all the people getting pensions for the city?
That's correct.
How much is that per year?
Again, I can get you the exact number, but I don't have that. I would have to get that number confirmed.
How much do we disperse? We know how much the budget costs us, what, 640 million we put into the pension allocation every year? And don't we disperse like 600 million a year?
I think we actually disperse more than that. You're talking about benefits payments. Yeah, I think it.
800 million?
Yeah, but it's been, yes. But the amount now is higher than it was
Yeah.
3
At
years
that
ago. It
time.
grows
So
a lot.
maybe it was closer to 6 on average if you average that out. But that was 2014. So that was only like 2 or 3 years we didn't balance that. And what's the PPDA? What is the dollars going in that account?
That number offhand, I don't have.
Is that a small number?
It's a small number,
Small.
yes.
Small definition under 10 million?
Yes.
Okay. And the Concash, what do you think that would be?
Well, that's where all of our, all the revenue and cash collected for the city would be. So that's,
So real estate
Good.
taxes paid, business, BERT taxes paid, all of our net income gross receipts of BERT, every tax paid goes into the Concash account?
that's correct.
So that's got to be, revenue's got to be what, 3.5 to 4 billion a year?
Around, yeah, probably.
So we're saying in the Concash account from June of 2014, if it was 3 years, 14, 15, and 16, that's close to 12 billion we didn't reconcile. Is that reconciled now?
It is, yes.
Okay. And is the PPDA reconciled now?
Nope. So the payroll and the pension disbursement and the PPDAA account, they will all be reconciled within the coming months. And that was a part of the plan. We brought
Those
in
three? Okay.
Those three. We brought in additional resources of an accountant when we put the plan together, and we have someone focusing solely on those. And as you know, we switched payroll vendor July 1, so our payroll, pension disbursement, and the PPDA are current now, but the back when we had Wells Fargo at the time for payroll and B of A, Bank of America, for pension, those will be all closed out by the end of June 30th.
So we did reconcile the pension disbursement account.
The pension, the current is reconciled, yes. Payroll current is reconciled.
No, I'm not talking about current. I'm talking about the old pension disbursement.
We are working on those now, and they'll be completed by the end of the fiscal year, by June 30th.
So let me just review.
Yeah.
The general disbursement is not reconciled, the old. The payroll is not reconciled. The pension disbursement is not reconciled. And the PPDA is not reconciled.
That's correct.
There are 4 accounts not reconciled.
They will all be reconciled.
But they will all be reconciled by June 30th, yep.
June 30th?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And when we reconciled the Concash account, is that the correct title of that account? Mm-hmm. Did we find any shortages or any issues, or did it balance completely?
We did, yes. There was a variance when we did the June 30th, 2017 of the 40.1 million, that's correct.
So we found we were short 40.1 million, and that's what was reported in the capital.
We found there was a difference between what
The
we're
bank
showing
and the book.
in Famous and what was in our bank.
Yeah.
So is that, the 40.1 is what became 33.3, which is now down to 26?
27.
27, okay. So that's that.
Yes.
I understand that better. So let me walk back to, so I make sure I understand the timeline. May of 2016, you've been in treasurer for 4 or 5 months at this point. You find out about this issue. You pick up the phone. Did you call Rob DeBoe? What did you do about it?
One, I had an internal conversation with the staff to see where we were with it, and try to find out the whys or what they thought their whys were, and then to work with, to put a plan together, and then have a conversation with Rob, yes.
And so why did it take so long, over a year, from May of 16 till the report comes out, the CAFRA comes out in June of 17, and now we're sitting in 18 where we're just getting the accountant on board? Why did all that time lag?
Well, one, we had different processes that we needed to go through to find out the why, start to put information together. So all this time we were doing work. There were staffing issues, there were gaps there, trying to backfill positions, fill new positions as well. So once we got some staff in place and the resources and some outside help, we had a outside temp worker come in, and then we were able to start to put the pieces together, have conversations with revenue about some information that we felt as though we need in addition to make this a more timely and efficient process.
And then we moved, I guess, the temp worker probably left around Valentine's, and we...
That's correct, and we filled that with a full-time worker.
Yeah.
I mean, my point is that we're probably talking about accounts that are close to a total $15 to $20 billion over the years. And if you found you were short people to do this work, if you found this in May, okay, should have come to this body or whatever process and say, look, we need to hire an outside accountant at that point and do it. The issue is, for me, is we all can make mistakes. It's the amount of time to get this corrected, because this is like really important.
We did hire an outside accountant, actually. I mean,
At that point? Back in May of 16?
No.
Was it?
We hired outside help with
But let me just give you the timeline so I'm clear.
Sure.
You came in January. In May, you found the problem of 16. In the end of June of 17, it's reported in the CAFRA report that we're short the money. And then we put out an RFP, when, in January of 18?
No, we put out an RFP in Late October, November.
Or the
Of
response-
17.
Yeah, the response came back
The
in
responses
December.
were due in December.
But I guess my point is, from May of 16 till even October of 17, that's what, 15, 16 months went by. I will say that for me, it's that night I'm trying to figure this out. Why did we let all this time go by with this amount of money?
Well, one, like I said, we were working on it, and I was out for a period of time myself. But within the time that we started, we pulled in additional help before we even hired someone by working with the assistant accounting director, bringing him in to help the team to see if we could do it in that manner. And we found some efficiencies there with working with him and bringing the process in, then backfilling some positions as well.
There's a lot of issues here that I'm having. One is that we didn't do it with all this time, and this one.
Okay.
Two is the amount of time it took us to fix the problem when you were aware of it, because I think 15 or 16 months from May of 16 till October of 17, dealing with $15 to $20 billion of unreconciled accounts is a lot of money. And we should have been doing it immediately. I mean, if the public is aware of this, we're going to look like we're not really managing the tax dollars efficiently. This is not good. I don't want to take up any more time today, but I would like to know, have in writing, what the plan is, which you've said, is to get it balanced by June 30th, number one.
For the payroll in those accounts?
All the accounts. I like it in writing. And number two, I'd like in writing what systems specifically are we putting into place to make sure this never happens again.
Sure. We are in the process of documenting all of our internal controls, and as we improve some of the processes, we are fine-tuning that, and we can provide you with that as well when it's completed.
And as I said yesterday, part of that is what the outside consultant's going to help us do. So what we'll tell you now about internal controls, we'll show you where we are now, but that will be improved too as we go
Right.
through
It will
this
be improved
process.
as we have the accountant in.
As an elected official, I personally feel responsible that I didn't ask these questions when I was here for the last 2 years. I never thought I had to ask, did we reconcile our accounts? Now I will, because I'm going to, I'm not going to assume anything is being done. But this is just something that does not look good for Philadelphia.
Understandable, and I mean, even coming into the role, asking the question, where we are with things, I didn't think we had to ask each specific one.
I know, but
So
here's
I
my
agree
only
with
thing
you.
for you. I would wish you would have blown the whistle quicker and asked for help immediately dealing with this amount of money. Because I will say this, if the three of us were in business and we had 15 billion to 20 billion of unreconciled accounts for 7 years, that night we're on the phone calling the accounts in and getting it fixed. We would not allow it to happen. Anyway, thank you for coming back and answering these questions. Thank you, Council President.
One quick question. Sure. I think I may need the deputy up at Charles. I think you know what I'm going to ask you. We've been working together and along with the Redevelopment Authority in a loan program based on the Housing Preservation Initiative. And as you know, we floated a bond for the grant portion, and now we're prepared to move. Can you tell me where we are with the loan program for housing preservation?
Sure. When we had our budget testimony that day, I can't remember the specific date, that following week, the three of us had a conversation, a meeting.
Three of who?
When I say Christian Dunbar.
Pull the mic a little.
I'm sorry. Christian Dunbar, Rob DeBow, myself, Ann Fadula, and Greg Heller had a meeting to kind of go over the budget, where we were, because as I stated to you, that we thought the administrative portion was high. During that meeting, it was agreed upon that they would work to revise the budget to reduce the administrative portion.
When you say they?
Meaning PRA.
PRA?
Yep.
Okay.
And we are waiting to get the revised budget.
From PRA?
That's correct.
So that's what we're waiting for?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And the revised budget centers primarily or solely around the administrative costs?
Just the administrative. Remember, it was at that 35, almost 40% that we would like to see that reduced. So we're waiting to get that, for them to massage the budget to get the administrative portion reduced, and we'll be good to go.
Okay, thank you. Just want to get on the record what the issue is.
Sure.
Thank you. Mr. DeBoe, could you hang around for a minute before you leave? Thank you. Thank you very much for your testimony. There being no additional questions, committee will stand in recess until Wednesday, May 16th, 2018, 10 a.m., which time we will reconvene in room 400 City Hall. Thank you very much.
Thank you.